Okay, we're recording.
Hi, this is Anna.
And Hannah.
And welcome to
Stacked, the McIntyre Library Podcast. Hooray! Okay, we'll get better at that.
We will. And today we are welcoming somebody, and we're going to let her introduce herself. So who are you, and what do you do on campus?
Hello. Thank you for having me. I am Jill Markgraf, and I am the Director of Libraries here at UW Eau Claire.
Hooray, our fearless leader.
Thank you for being here, Jill. You're our first guest, so this is very exciting for us.
Mm-hmm. Well, we should, have our library director on the
Absolutely.
The library podcast. Mm-hmm. It's a good thing.
You did a great job saying the name of the podcast together.
Thank you. We'll practice.
In the first episode, we had like a spontaneous moment of
synchronicity.
And so I think maybe we want to try doing it on purpose this time.
It went very well, I think.
Yeah. Okay, well, Jill, is there an icebreaker question from our list that is speaking to you today?
Yeah. It's actually a combination of two questions in a way.
Cool.
Yeah. They were really thoughtful, or in that they made me think. So what is your first memory of a library? And I thought, what is my first memory of a library? Is it when my parents took me to a library when I was a little child? And no, it is not, because I don't think they did that back then. They were too busy. They had too many kids. We didn't go. I remember going on my own with my friends on bicycles. But my first memory, I think, is first grade in the school library with our librarian, Mrs. Smith, and specifically the book, The Boxcar Children. I can picture where it was on the shelf.
Yay.
And I loved it. And I said, I'm kind of cheating because it's also, if you could live in the world of a book, I spent so many years dreaming about living in a boxcar like those four children. And I was in a family with four kids, and the third daughter, Violet, in the book, that was me in my mind. And so I just dreamed about living that life in a boxcar.
Oh, that's so exciting. I loved the Boxcar Children books when I was growing up.
Did you?
Yes, I did. Although it was interesting, like by the time that I was reading them, like they had obviously they had ghostwriters like doing like once they were into like the 40s or 50s in the series, it was obviously ghostwriters, but they were delightful nevertheless.
Yes, I only know the one from the boxcar to the grandfather's house, and that's where it all ended for me. But
in the first like 10, there were some really good ones. Like there was one where they went on vacation to a lighthouse, and there was a whole like thing about lighthouses, and I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't be talking this much, but that's
now
okay.
I'm feeling extremely badly because I've never read The Boxcar Children, and I feel like I need to remedy that. My four kids were the kids that traveled to Narnia, and I was Lucy.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's always four kids.
Mm-hmm.
It really is.
It's a good formula.
Yeah, there are four kids in the Half Magic books too.
I don't know those, but four children, good formula, and always orphans, right? The other part of the formula.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. The other world of books that I want to always live in is the lovely little British towns or Canadian little towns that are featured in like cozy mysteries. Aside from the murders that happen there all the time, they just seem like such delightful little communities, and
everyone knows everyone else, and
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And even though they're small towns, they have amazing restaurants and art and other things. And
spooky houses with fireplaces and cozy chairs to light a candle and read by.
Mm-hmm. And little old ladies who sit and knit and solve mysteries.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And always a cat.
Yes.
It has to be a cat.
There we go.
Well, or a dog.
Or a dog. Okay.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. I was baiting you on that one.
I won't go there. Not taking that bait. I've worked in libraries long enough
to know.
Not take
Too
that
many
bait.
cat people in libraries, people. Too many cat people. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So every week we ask our guests to bring something to the table that is library related. So it's either something from our collection or something that is accessible within our library. It could be a service. It could be a space, and today we've asked Jill what library thing related thing are you here to talk to us about today?
I feel like I have to apologize to you for bringing what I brought, because I have sitting in front of me the Statistical Abstract of the United States from 2012. Could anything sound drier than that? I open it up and it's, tables of data. But the reason I brought it is it's kind of symbolizes a career in libraries, and it symbolizes the change that we've experienced in the past decades, I think. I remember it fondly. 2012 is not insignificant. That is the year they stopped publishing this thing. But I spent many years as a reference librarian back before internet, if you can even imagine. I have a hard time remembering, and so it's even harder to imagine, I think. But every time, we open our phone, look up whatever question pops into our mind, that used to be a call to the library reference desk or somebody stopping by the reference desk. And I just think back fondly of those days when you could work an 8-hour shift at the desk with not a moment's break, with the phone ringing off the hook, with lines of people asking questions, and you could be staffed 4 or 5 people deep. And all day you're solving problems, solving puzzles, finding hidden pieces because there's nowhere to look them up. You couldn't. And you had a book. Well, you had a whole collection, but this book was, if I had to take one book to a desert island and provide reference services back in the day, this was the book that answered so many questions. Mm-hmm. And I just think about it. Sometimes it's nostalgic. When you think about where we are and how our work has changed over the decades and even in recent years. And, we went from this book being published in print format to being online where you could search for particular words, which was life-changing. And then we moved from that to, then the internet, and people could look up their own things. And the reason they came to us changed entirely. Sometimes more interesting. We're, more in depth. The problems are more complicated now that we manage. But it was just so much fun. And this book reminds me of how much fun I had at that stage in my career.
What kinds of reference questions would this Statistical Abstract of the United States help you answer?
Well, that's amazing because of the breadth of stuff that's in here. I'm just randomly opening it up right now. And college enrollment by sex, race, and Hispanic origin from 2009. I mean, now you can go on our website and find that, or any website and find that. But back in the day, you couldn't. And so if somebody had a question about that, you needed to know where to look and where to find it. Funding for highways, international statistics, metropolitan statistical area populations, how easy that is to find now. But I don't know. So it's just kind of a symbol. Crime rates, expenditures on child care, expenditure on arts, just all kinds of data.
And what kind of data sets or databases do we have now at our library that have sort of supplanted this physical copy that has a library use only sticker on it and is available, I believe, in our reference collection, because we still do have a reference collection. But I remember when I worked here from 2006 to 2011, and I was at this library. One of my roles was going through the reference collection and starting to figure out which set of encyclopedias do we keep. And it was a large collection that is now on one set of shelving over by the U.S. government publications. Is this where you found that book, by the U.S., or is this behind the desk?
This is in the government documents
That
collection.
is in the government documents.
But funny you should mention that, because yesterday, preparing and thinking about this discussion today, I did take a little stroll through the reference shelves, and it was like, I don't know, it was like going to a high school reunion or something, like visiting old friends that I hadn't thought about or seen in ages. I'm surprised at some of the stuff that's still there, but it just takes me back to a time when these things, like, we couldn't live without them, how valued they were. And it's a bittersweet kind of feeling. But you asked about data sets that we have now, and I have kind of a favorite. A lot of this, the one that I really like that's really fun is, it's changed names so many times over the years, but it's the MRI Simmons Catalyst, I think it's called now, the one choice. And it's a marketing database and kind of a consumer demographic database. And what I love about it is it allows you to develop crosstabs or cross-tabulate different characteristics. So it's not just giving you a straight-up number like this book does, but it can answer questions you might have, like, what are the political leanings of people who play pickleball? You can look up those demographics and find that intersection and find the trends. I mean, it's designed for, marketing and consumer products and that kind of thing, and segmenting your audiences and all that kind of thing. But it's just such a fun way to answer questions like, do people who read newspapers buy a particular kind of toothpaste, or, whatever question you might have.
I am curious about the pickleball thing, though, because pickleball has just, exploded in the last, decade or so. And does it correspond with, I don't know.
It does.
Uh-huh.
It does, from the quick search that I did, and I did do that search a little bit. The data in our academic version of this database is a little old. I think a lot has changed in the last year or two, and the data might be a little older than that. But it skews probably a little more conservative. At least from the data we have, that might have changed now.
And that might also correspond with the average age of the pickleball player and kind of stuff like that.
And
cool.
Yeah, okay.
Geography and socioeconomic factors.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you could look up those questions, like where do they live?
You could see where they live.
Yeah.
So if you were going to start a pickleball court it's a court, right? Oops.
Yes.
Never played pickleball, sorry. But I'm asking one of our pickleball experts.
Pickleball
plays
stage. A pickleball stage.
Oh, like the theater. Okay.
I was translating for you.
Thank you. Okay. Because I do that sometimes. I do refer to things as theater-related things, and then I have to correct myself to the real words. But you can take it and you can find out if you wanted to start a pickleball court in Eau Claire, you could find out where the pickleball players are, where the socioeconomic groups that would be more inclined to play pickleball are. So you can draw maps, correct? And
you can understand what kind of media they consume or engage with. So if you're going to invest in advertising, where do you do that? It can answer so many questions once you get in there and start poking around. It's just feels endless.
That seems just talking about this in terms of how you can make something like this data that really lives in tables, right? But the way that it's represented visually is so much more dynamic and interactive. And that's I feel like that's a really big change in the medium of how people interact with data.
That's a really good point, because you can manipulate it and use it for different purposes. And while I was waxing nostalgic about this book, it reminds me that's something that we couldn't do then. And it sort of contributes, that idea to come up with these questions and answer them in different ways and display them in different ways is sort of gets at that creative
what if?
That creative approach, which I think as libraries we are really leaning into, is sort of facilitating and supporting people's creative endeavors.
Amazing. Well, Jill, thank you so much for bringing this,
this
reminder.
Guaranteed to be the
classic reference.
Driest object or artifact that anybody brings to your podcast series.
No. Maybe at the end of the year we'll rank them from the most exciting to the blandest. I don't think it was bland at all. I think it really answered the why you picked it, and it was a great story to tell about how our occupation has really changed, and that's 2012. That's 14 years, and that's how drastically things have changed, and how creative information seeking has has become, knowing now that what once we would have to sort of wonder about and extrapolate on our own, now we can plug in a few queries and get that information right at our fingertips. So it's a great illustration of that. Thank you.
Well, our final question, what else do you love about libraries generally and about McIntyre Library specifically?
Oh, what do I love about libraries? So, what don't I love about libraries? But, you know, when I read that question, I was actually thinking about another question that I didn't choose to answer earlier. I guess I'm just breaking all the rules and combining all your questions into one.
It's allowable.
Yeah.
Well, because one of your questions that I could have chosen was something that I wish my library card allowed me to do that it doesn't already. And the first thing I thought is, oh gosh, what do I want? I want to be able to travel more. I want to, teleport and transport myself to where my kids are, places in the world I haven't seen. And then I thought, wait a minute, this is cheesy, but libraries do let you teleport or transport, but I'm not going to answer that because it's too cheesy. But that is what I do love about libraries. Any question you have, anything you want to experience, there's something in here that takes you there. So I love that about libraries. I love, and you guys are, I'm going to say this, I love the people in the library. I mean, when we talk about McIntyre Library specifically, but, most libraries we go to, the people here are so committed to making a good experience for anybody who comes into this library. They're so forward-thinking, so creative, so service-oriented. They're such can-do people. And I think, you think back to talking about our statistical abstract of the United States, and when the internet came along and everybody says, well, that's it for libraries, and it so is not. And it's because of the folks here always looking about where's the need and how can we fill it and how can we address what people need and want and contribute to just, people living better lives. And I think the people in McIntyre Library do that so well. That's what I love the most.
Amazing. We're going to start tearing up over here. Okay.
Thank you, Jill.
Thank you. And what you're doing right here is an example of that. So hats off to you too.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jill.
And we get to have fun while we're doing it.
Oh,
so
woohoo. Mm-hmm. Amazing.
Which is one of the things about working in a library that if you don't know, it's a lot of fun. Mm-hmm.
We have fun.
We do have fun.
We have fun.
Okay.
All right.
Well, Jill, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
I really appreciate it. Okay, everybody. This is the
Stacked. The McIntyre Library podcast.
I messed that one up.
Look at this. This has been another episode of Stacked,
the McIntyre Library podcast. Okay, we're out.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to Stacked, the McIntyre Library podcast.
Our guest for this episode was Jill Markgraf. Thank you for joining us, Jill.
We would also like to thank the entire digital studio team and everyone at the library for their support.
This podcast was recorded in the large audio studio at McIntyre Library.
It was hosted and produced by Anna Zook and Hannah Carlton.
And edited by Hannah Carlton.
The music was by Matt and Lucy. Thank you. We love it.
And in honor of Brett Goldstein, quoting Bill and Ted, be excellent to each other and go to the library.
Bye.